All right. Okay. Are you ready to rumble?
I'm rumbling.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Backlog Banter. Today, I'm sitting at a very precise position because I'm covering something in the background. Because today, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, forest spirits and water nymphs. Today, we're talking about Metroid.
That
That's
has
right.
been there in the background
Today,
of every single one of your videos. You're not really covering up anything spoilery.
but today, this fucking I want to make sure I get the name right. This Kitsu Studio plush that I got from PAX East has even more significance because today, as they're recording it, it is Metroid's 34th anniversary, the anniversary of course, the first Metroid game releasing. Now, Metroid is a series that I'm a big fan of, particularly 2D Metroid. That's always been my jam. Tucker here, though, as an absolute heretical monster, has never
Yes.
played even a single Metroid game. So what I want to do today, ladies and gentlemen, for spirits and water nymphs, if you will. Is a nymph a mystical creature? Am I messing that up?
No, that's right. Yeah, you got that.
Okay, good. That's good. That's good to know. I don't want to make any mistakes. This is a very important video
As a
because today,
cryptozoologist expert, I can confirm.
is that related to cryptocurrency in any way?
Not quite, no.
Well, it's also not related to Metroid. That's the topic of today's video. Today, Tucker, I'm going to sell you on the Metroid series. Now, what I want to do is I want to throw a little bit of a curveball, even as to what I was going to tell you to do. I want to talk to you about both 2D Metroid and Metroid Prime, talk about why they're special, and then, give you all the options, the full skill set you're going to need to determine what Metroid game is right for you. Now, full
Ooh,
disclosure,
wow. Okay.
I vastly prefer 2D Metroid games. Now, Tucker, I want you to regale me really quickly with some of your favorite Metroidvania games. You can list them, say what you like about them, maybe, or pick out one that you really enjoy, and tell me why you like it so much.
Okay. Well, I don't think that this is any secret, but I'm a very big fan of the Ori series, both Blind Forest and
Sure.
Will o' the Wisps. Those two games are two of the best games I've ever played, and I have a lot of fun with those. Other Metroidvanias, in a different vein, being SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2. I love both of those games a lot. I know you're a fan of the second one as well. I also like Yoku's Island Express, which is also a very different take on Metroidvania. Of course, I'm a Carrion fan. Um,
Sure. Sure.
and
Those are all
to wrap
reasonable.
this up, I'm looking at my favorite games of all time. Oh, Monster Tale. That's a great one to close it
Okay.
out. Monster Tale, a little more classically Metroidvania than those other ones I mentioned, but I'm a very big fan of the genre.
Now, when you're looking at the genre, what compels you about them? What's the nut of your enjoyment? Is it the exploration? Is it the puzzle solving? Is it the ambiance? Is it the upgrades? Is it the combat?
For me,
Is it the fact you can look at the games?
I do like looking at them while I play a video
Well, then you're
game.
in for a treat with
Uh,
Metroid,
Wait, can they have visuals too?
as far as I know.
That's impressive. I would say my two top things that draw me to Metroidvanias are the upgrade systems and the world designs.
Well, then I think you're gonna be big into really either strain of Metroid because whether you're playing Prime or 2D
Great.
Metroid, what's great about these games, first and foremost, is their aesthetic and their atmosphere and their world building. Metroid is a series full of incredible lore and incredible characters, not just human characters. There's way fewer of those, but alien characters and alien species and alien civilizations. If you really want to dive into everything that the Metroid series has, you might want to look into Prime because Prime has more storytelling elements and you're going to learn more about the world. But in terms of just straight world design, it's hard to beat something like Fusion. Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance, also playable on the Wii U Virtual Console, cleans up beautifully. That game has really interesting locales, and it's set on this huge space frigate that has its own ecosystem. So you're going through a lot of different themed areas. So you'll go through like this tropical area where there's been a stimulated environment where there are all these crazy space creatures that live there. But the SAX parasite is destroying the system, so things start to bleed together, and creatures get out, and these ecosystems become unbalanced. That's really cool. Then you got something more traditional, like in Zero Mission or in Super Metroid, which also just excel at building a world for you to create and live in and explore. They feel alien and foreign and dangerous and foreboding, but as you explore them more, the Metroid series does such an excellent job of giving you a command over your environment because of its upgrade trees. Metroid does such a great job at feeding you upgrades that are iconic, whether you're getting the space jump or your boots or your different beams. All the things you're going to collect really empower you in a way that I think other Metroidvanias try to emulate. because Metroid really set this foundation. So when you're fighting huge bosses, when you're overcoming new challenges and using your new upgrades to do that, you feel really empowered. And when you combine that with how interesting the worlds are to explore, I think there's a lot that's really compelling about that. So I think 2D Metroid or Metroid Prime, you're in for a treat either way. I'm kind of curious though, why haven't you played Metroid yet?
I think it was because I didn't really feel like I had access to the games.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anyone who had played any of the games, honestly, up until I started getting into talking to people about retro games and talking about the games industry as a whole. None of my friends growing up ever mentioned Metroid. I mean, we all knew Samus from Smash, but
Yeah.
that was about it. And then when I started getting into indie games and discovered Metroidvania indie games, and I had played Monster Tale as a kid, didn't really know that it was that Metroidvania at the time. Then I just realized that I was into that genre, and I was playing all those newer releases, ones that, from my perspective, were more creative and had interesting takes on the genre. And Metroid always felt like, oh, this was the building block, but from someone who didn't know a lot about it, didn't really seem very special. I always wanted to try Metroid Prime. I heard that those games were good. There was a long time where I was searching around to try to buy Metroid Prime games, but when I heard years ago that the rumor of the trilogy coming to Switch, I decided that I would just kind of wait. And that's kind of where I've been stuck at. I obviously now have Metroid and Super Metroid on my Nintendo Switch
Yes.
Online, and on my SNES Classic, I could play Super Metroid. So I do have access to that game, and I do plan to play it rather soon. But the other ones don't seem like they're a little harder to access for me. You said Wii U Virtual Console. I'm not. I don't want to download anything on my Wii U Virtual Console. So if I'm going to get Metroid Fusion, I'll buy a cartridge. But yeah, that's true. And I just would like to point out that I don't like myself wearing the same shirt in multiple videos, so I turned my shirt backwards for this video.
See, that is such insider baseball. I didn't even know that. I don't think the audience would have noticed. But it's important that you pointed that out. And I also think it's important to point out that by not going onto the Wii U Virtual Console, you're missing out on, I think, the best way to experience Metroid. Because for $10, you can get the trilogy on Wii U Virtual Console.
The
And these
what?
games, the Metroid Prime
Oh,
trilogy
the
on Virtual
Prime
Console.
trilogy.
Yeah, you can get that. It actually might be $20. I
Yeah,
think the
there's no way
introductory
it's 10.
when it first came out, they were doing a promotion. You're right. They had a promotion for a week when it's 10 bones. So that's how much I paid for it.
Wow.
But at $20, the games clean up very well on Wii U. They look incredible. And of course, then if you go through Wii U Virtual Console, you have access to Fusion and you have access to Zero Mission. But with your Switch in hand, you got Super Metroid right here, which is not my favorite Metroid game. That is Fusion, but it's such an iconic game that I think that's a great way to start. And like you were saying, Metroid is a building block of the genre. I mean, it's literally the Metroidvania genre for a reason, right? And I think it's fair to say that other games like Hollow Knight and your Ori's and all of those had to do something a little bit more. I don't know if creative is the right word, but different, because Metroid laid the foundation. And Metroid, I think the reason those studios have to do that is because Metroid to this day is a timeless experience. It's so fundamentally understands that gameplay formula because it created it, that to this day it's still the purest version of it, and it feels so good to experience. And if you're going into it wanting more than just that baseline polished Metroidvania experience, and I think you go in for the world building, like I was saying. And I know you're someone who likes your lore, you like learning about your characters and your gobbledygooks and your creatures and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And you have so much of that in the Metroid series. So I actually think you strike me a little bit as a Prime boy based on what you're telling me, because
It's certainly possible.
Because Prime takes the staples of that genre and then puts them into 3D in a way that I really don't think very many games since that have. So I think maybe for your taste that might be the most A, story heavy, and B, most still fresh to this day Metroid experience. But I think in terms of fundamentals, in terms of world building, in terms of game feel, in terms of how precise the mechanics are, and how when you start the games you just want to keep playing them. For me, that's always been Fusion, Zero Mission, Super Metroid. Actually, Samus Returns on 3DS would be a nice one too, because that feels really modernized in a lot of ways, considering it's, the only modern 2D Metroid game. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the implementations, new features there feel really compelling, and in my opinion, feel ahead of a lot of other Metroidvania titles. So that might be another one to check out too. I actually haven't beaten that one just because of when it came out post Switch. I didn't give it as much attention. I'd like
Yeah.
to get back to it sometime soon. But the point is, you got a lot of entry points. I guess the point is you've got points, which is bad word use, grammar things. But you get the idea. I think that's something that's really interesting in Metroid is how versatile the series has been. We've had spin-offs that are really bizarre that people don't talk about or care about. Federation Force, Pinball, right?
Mm-hmm.
To an extent, this game, which I'm actually going to start playing again very soon because I want to have a conclusive opinion on it. But the
Black
point,
Recase. Oh God.
unfortunately, it's one of these
Oh.
bad boys. I
Oh.
hate to say it. I hate to
Oh.
say it.
I don't own any of those, and I'm very proud of that.
I actually have a couple on the shelf back there, but that's not the point. The point is the Metroid series. It's got so many different ways to engage with it. There really is a gameplay style for you there. It's just about trying it. And I really do think, because you're a psychopath, we all know that. You're a psychopath, you're a sociopath, you're a danger to society. And a lot of that stems from the fact that you will not buy games digitally on your Wii U. I'm telling you right now, for $60, you could have the entire Metroid franchise on your Wii U. The entire Metroid franchise. And for significantly less than that, you could have all of the Prime games or the best 2D Metroid games, which I think are the GBA ones. So I really think that's something to consider and something for all the audience out there to consider, right? If you got your Switch in hand, you got Super Metroid. It's a no-brainer. But if you've got this bad boy right here, you've got more Metroid than you could ever want. That's not true. You can never have too much Metroid. So I'm really hoping we get some more Metroid soon. Is there anything else about Metroid you want to know? How can I convince you that you're wrong?
Well,
What have I not done yet?
Here's the thing, and I think we discussed this in a video that'll be coming out next week. But I have not played Metroid. That doesn't mean I'm not interested in it. I'm a big Metroidvania fan,
Correct.
as I obviously just touted my experience with the genre. And I have nothing against the series. I don't think it's going to be bad. I'm honestly shocked I haven't played it, and I probably will enjoy most of them, if not all of them, when I do play them. So this is just a good spurring on point for me to be like, all right, it really is time for me to at least give Super Metroid a try, which I have for free for access right now.
Yeah.
That's a weird way to phrase that, but it's true. I can close up this call and go give Super Metroid a try, and we can do a Super Metroid discussion. My first time through Super Metroid coming up in the next few weeks. I'm totally down for that. And if I enjoy the first, like essentially the first one, my first game enough, I have no, honestly, this is gonna be my character arc. I have nothing against trying. It's gonna take a lot of willpower, but I will try to download games on the Wii U Virtual Console. It's gonna be a big day for me, and I'm glad to have you along with me.
Because if you weren't going to do that, I was going to, because I've got this plush Metroid here, but that's just to try to keep people calm. Because actually, under my desk here, I have a bio container with a real life Metroid in it. I was going to ship it to your home and have it stick itself to your head if you weren't gonna properly give Metroid the time of day. But you are, which means you folks are going to get a lot of Metroid content from Backlog Banter very soon. And I think Super is probably a good place to start, especially on here with the rewind function, because these games I find pretty difficult. Mm-hmm. The 2D Metroid games, especially Fusion, some of Fusion's boss fights are hard. They are hard fights.
Okay.
But with rewind, you're not going to have trouble. And the boss design, I think, is really iconic. Like when you meet Kraid for the first time, when you finally fight Ridley, there really is a lot here that set a standard and continues to be the standard.
Yeah.
So I really think you're going to have a great time. And frankly, all I want to say is happy birthday, Samus. Happy birthday.
You know, I almost share a birthday with Samus because my birthday is tomorrow, which you guys are getting a video of another Metroidvania game, one that I personally enjoyed a lot, and I think borrows a lot from the Metroid series, which is Carrion. So look forward to that video tomorrow if you're watching this today. If you're not, time is an illusion. And
relevant, yeah.
Well, it's a lot of different things. And you can go back and watch this video and that video. You can interweave them. You can download them and cut them up and paste them together like a puzzle. It's going to be a good time. There's a lot of good content coming out soon. We're going to have another Metroidvania discussion pretty soon with me and my friend Landon Smith trying to convince Abram to play Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which will be very, very entertaining.
Really, all you have to do is convince me to buy a computer that can run it.
That's true. I'll send you $10. Is that good enough? I'll get you.
That might get this a singular key on the keyboard.
Okay, well, good enough for me. I think about does for this video. Anything else you got to say?
All I have to say is goodbye. Play Metroid.
Well, that's not quite goodbye yet, because I got to do a shameless plug. If you look down,
Oh, you got to plug more?
yeah, I got to plug all sorts of stuff. I'm plugging into all my holes, including the description down below where you can see.
I didn't like that at all.
Too bad. You can see the links to
I'm
my
looking
Twitter,
down.
to your Twitter.
There it is.
Yeah, the description
wow.
right down there. You see it?
There it is.
Yeah,
I
down there you
it.
see my Twitter, your Twitter, our Twitter, and I hope you guys give them a follow. So see you guys in another video.
And my Metroid.
Oh God, bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah,
All right.
give it to me, hard and fast.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I didn't like that at all.